Okay, I've moved over to question number 3, or at the bottom. There's A, B, and C. I'll do the first 3. These are actually quite difficult questions, okay? So it says find the quadratic equation in vertex and standard form. So I'll find it in vertex form and then in standard form first. These will take you a half a page to do, like if you do 2 columns. So they'll be a half a page an answer. Okay, they're quite difficult. We're going to start with vertex form. Okay, so anytime you need an equation, you need 2 items. You need the vertex and you need an additional point. So in order to find the equation, you need the vertex and 1 extra point. So let's look at A. So this is A part here. So you have the vertex, which is -3, 2, and you have an additional point. You have the y-intercept, so x is 0 and y is 29. So you have 1 point. See, this is just a point. Okay. So vertex. This is your P and the Q. We're going to use the vertex equation. A x minus P squared plus Q. We're going to insert the P and the Q. So right now we're going to get y equals A, opposite sign, so x plus 3 squared, okay, plus 2. Now, we have everything here, but we don't know what A is. If we knew what A was, then we'd have the equation in vertex form, but we don't know. But we can use this additional point here. We can sub it in. This is our x, and this is our y. We can sub this point in for the 0 in for the x, and the 29 in for the y, and we can figure out what A is. So let's do that right now. So at this point, maybe I'll just change colors. I'll do the purple. We're going to put 29 in for the y, and then A, we're going to put 0 in for the x. Okay, so again, over here I got the point. I got x is 0, y is 29, and I subbed it in. I know I'm going to need a lot more room here. Okay, now we have to solve A. That's all that's unknown is this A. We got 29 too. So let's see what would I do. I do the bracket first. 0 plus 3. 0 plus 3 is just 3. So 29 equals A, and it's just 3 squared plus 2. Next, 3 times 3 is 9. So I do that next. So I get A9, or I can just write 9A plus 2. So 3 times 3 is 9. I can just put it in the front. So 9A plus 2 is 29. Now, I bring this 2 to the other side. So when it crosses the equal sign, it becomes negative. So you get 29 minus 2 equals 9A. So 29 minus 2 is 27 equals 9A. Now to find A, I got to divide both sides by 9. So I divide that side by 9 and this side by 9. So all this work told me that A is equal to 3, right? So now I know A is 3. Now I take this 3 and I go all the way back to this equation over here and I plug it in for this A. So I take this A here, I bring it all the way back. So I'll put an arrow all the way back. We're just going to keep going here, all the way back. And we're going to put it all the way into the blue equation right there and sub it in. So we get y equals, so here we get y equals 3. Okay. Y equals 3. And then we'll get the bracket squared. Let's see what those other two numbers were. Go all the way back. Plus 3 and plus 2. Plus 3 and plus 2. So here we got plus 3. So x plus 3 plus 2. And that's our equation in vertex form. Okay, that's part of it. Now, how do we find it in standard form? So we have an equation. It's in vertex form. Now, to put it into standard form, we're going to have to do a bit of work here. So we're going to have to go, let's erase that. Okay, a little bit of work. We're going to have to go y equals 3, put the bracket x plus 3 twice. I'm going to speed it up a little bit here. I'm just going to do some work. Then I'm going to go y equals 3, and you get x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. Close the bracket plus 2. We just expanded. And I know I did this in another video. It's probably in the first video for this week. And we'll extend it again. So this is quite difficult. Y equals 3 x squared, plus 6x plus 9 plus 2. Okay, we'll just make that a little bit nicer. Okay, and then we get y equals 3x squared plus 18x plus 27 plus 2. And then we add the last two numbers and we get y equal 3x squared plus 18x plus 29. This is difficult. It requires a lot of steps and a lot of work. So I am now going to do this next one. If you want, you can try it before I do it. Okay, just notice that the y-intercept is 29. The last number is 29. So the y-intercept here is 20, does match it. And this is standard form, okay? And up here what I boxed was a vertex form. Okay, let's go to the next one here. So the vertex is -2, -3, and we have a point, 2, -11. It's not the y-intercept, so the last c will not be this. So I'm going to do this one a little bit quicker. Okay, I'm going to go y equals a x minus p squared plus q. This is my p, this is my q. Okay, so y equals a, we don't know, x, change the sign, 2 squared, keep the sign, minus 3. So that's where this goes in. This goes +2, -3. Now we have to find a. So we're going to sub in 2 for the x and -11 for the y. Okay, so we'll go -11 here equals a, 2 plus 2 squared minus 3. So right now we're looking for a. We're solving for a, because if we have a, we can put it over here and we'd have an equation. Okay, now -11. Do what's in the bracket, follow the same order. So do the bracket first. 2 plus 2 is 4 squared minus 3. Next, -11. 4 squared is 16. We just put it in the front. 16a minus 3. Now I'm going to bring the minus 3 to the other side. So this minus 3 crosses the equal sign, becomes positive. So you get -11 plus 3 equals 16a. Okay, -11 plus 3 is -8 equals 16a. I'm going to keep going here. We'll extend the page. Divide both sides by 16. Divide that side by 16. Oh, a is a -1/2. So now we're in our equation. We're going to get y equals -1/2 x something squared plus the other one. So I think that was a minus at the end. Okay, so I got to go all the way back. I'm going to go all the way back and figure out what those were. Oh, +2 minus 3. So we have an equation, +2. So over here we got +2 minus 3. We've got one answer. That's in vertex form. Okay, let's now place that into standard form. Okay, so we go y equals -1/2. Here we write the x plus 2 twice. Okay, minus 3. Now we multiply the brackets. We'll just leave the -1/2 here. Let's multiply the brackets. X squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. I'm just multiplying out. Close the bracket. Minus 3. Clean up the middle term. So -1/2x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 3. Interesting, it actually is not bad because half of 4 and half of 4 is 2. And we can just write minus half x squared. So half of 4, it's going to be a negative 2 because you're going to multiply by negative 2. And this is also going to be negative 2. There's no bracket, minus 3. So here it's a little bit tricky here. Okay, so here, this minus half times x is a negative half x squared. Okay, minus half times 4. So it's like 4 divided by 2, but it's 4 divided by negative 2, so it's negative 2. Then half of 4 is 2, but you got a negative, so you got a negative there. And then at the end here, we got one last step. Minus half x squared minus 2x, negative 2 minus 3, so you go more negative, becomes minus 5. And that's the final answer in standard form. I will do one more, and I'll do it in the last video. It'll be with the table. I'll try to explain how to get the information from the table.